Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to the stream. Delete is applicable as the internet is worldwide and time zones are a thing. Could I get a little audio check in the chat, please? And I'll say some hellos. Slim, nice to see you here. Regs, what about you, chum? I hope you're feeling a bit better and I hope all goes well. Tober, hello, glad to have you here. Unloved Otto, got some news for you, chum. Ain't perfect, but things are moving in the right direction. Anglo-Saxon brother, nice to have you here. Linda Hunter, in from down under, glad to have you here. No sexy Em in the chat tonight. She is currently traveling and doesn't have any signal. Let's see, who else is there that I have not said hello to? Planet X Hunter, glad to have you here. Thank you. Gammon Sandwich, hello. There we go. Audio good. Excellent. Things is working. Big welcome to anyone who has come over from the Amigos News with Sensum. And any of you that don't watch that, if you enjoy this content, you're going to like that stream as well. So maybe you want to try that next week. Galileo's Tongue, glad to have you. Glad to see you here. Thank you very much. As we always say, I'm amazed that people come and listen to my blathering, and I'm really, really thankful for that. What have we got tonight? We've got a couple of stories, and we're going to have a bit of an Ask Me Anything, and Sensum Communen's going to come on for a bit because I wanted his reaction to a couple of things. As pretty much all user regulars, and generally what I talk about is history, culture, and tradition. We're doing something slightly different tonight. We're talking about some things that are going on currently, but they do link to culture always changes, and sometimes you need to talk about cultures and stuff as they are changing. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to have our usual couple of crazy sports, and depending on how time goes and everything, we might have a bit of a call-in show as well. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit of a freeform, but that's basically where we're at. So I'm going to get the first story up. As I just get this link, and it relates to family courts. And always will be, Mr. Orange Beer. Unfortunately not. The other thing is, if you could get this photo blown up, you'll see that what we'll have in this orange bit here is mechanics and machinery. And it's sort of, the picture is not an accurate depiction of my back, but it's a reference to the whole cyborg thing. Identifying as an attack helicopter and having a pronoun of the machine and stuff like that, just to fuck with all the lefty LGBTQAI. 1 second, something just came through. What's happening? All right, that's okay. We can deal with that. Okay. Just had a message through. I need to deal with this. If I don't do it now, I'll forget. Right, here we go. Right, that's it. Sent. Sorry about that. As I get back onto this, did I see somebody else? Did I? Yes, alphabet rainbow. I'll have to dig out my meme about that. They've now got enough letters in it that you can actually spell out special snowflake. But there you go. Did I see Anglo-Saxon sneak in there, and I haven't said hello to him? Or Anglo? I may or may not have said hello to you. If I haven't, you're getting two hellos, brother. So there you go. Couldn't remember. Right. Now, where am I at? Hey, current comment and get this link up. Right. Here we go. A rare day where we have good news about family court and shit. So here we go. Check this view. Zoom it in just a little more. And zoom it in just a little more. Then we may actually be able to see it. Back to StreamYard. Sure. Share screen. Share screen. Let's see. Aha. West Virginia's 50-50 custody law now in effect. Scott's Armour, glad to have you here. Just saying hello. So what's happened is we've now got a law in West Virginia that is putting a presumption of 50-50 shared parenting in family court, which is, well, it's not, this isn't going to be the be all and end all, and it's not going to change everything, but it's a very large step in the right direction. Right, here we go. Charleston, a West Virginia law that requires family court judges to presume an equal split in physical custody of children went into effect today. So it isn't just passed, it's actually apparently going to be acted upon. Titled Best Interests of Child Protection Act 2022, the law requires family courts and judges to presume that equal 50-50 custodial allocation is in the child's best interest. The measure passed the legislature this year after coming up short twice in the past 3 years. I've been keeping tabs on this law and other ones similar that kept on being brought up and never actually made it through. The House of Delegates adopted the bill twice, but it never cleared the Senate. This year, Senator Randy Smith, Art Tucker, and Delegate Jeff Foster, Art Putnam, two of the bill's biggest supporters, said a grassroots effort by people who felt cheated by the system led to increased support in the Senate. Because there are, and whenever they say people that felt cheated by the system, they actually mean men that have been cheated by the system. I just want to jump back over this and have a look at the chat because I'm pretty sure our much loved Otto has got something to say about this. Frank O'Brien, CPS in America, child trafficking operation, big time. That's not just in America. That is pretty common. Right, no, I'm going to continue on. I was getting all these constituent complaints, men and women, that were being treated unfairly in the court system, Smith said. The bottom line was the kids were the ones who are suffering. Foster, who is a vocal supporter of the bill in the House, especially during the years when it failed in the Senate, said he supported the law because it would promote healthier outcomes for children by encouraging involvement from both parents. The whole point of the law and the passage of the bill was to get fathers and mothers back in the lives of children, Foster said. It's exciting to see the courts moving in that direction. Uh, the bill wasn't without its critics. At least 3 family court judges told lawmakers during the 2022 legislative session that they were concerned that measures would have a chilling effect on people reporting domestic abuse and leaving abusive relationships. I actually think this will make it more likely for men to get out of abusive relationships, because a lot of what keeps them trapped in there is they are leaving means saying bye-bye to their children. So I'm not quite sure that this person's telling the truth. People who spoke against the law said it was a bad policy that puts the feelings of parents, who most often are getting along, above the well-being. Now, it puts the feelings of children, who most often are not getting along, above the well-being of children, and sets up children to be collateral in disagreements between their parents. David Macron, a lawyer and lobbyist, was among those who said that the measures wasn't in keeping with the best interests of children. We're going to come back to this term, best interests of children, because there's a bit of interesting stuff about that we're going to bring up. Macron is the co-founder of the West Virginia Surface Owners' Rights Organization, and he lobbies the legislature regarding issues that affect low-income West Virginians. He agreed that it's better to have both parents actively participating in raising their children, but said he was concerned that higher-earning parents will use this presumption as a means to avoid paying more child support. What that means is the amount of child support that a father pays, or a mother, but generally it's a father at this effect, is totally determined on how much time the parent spends with the child. If both parents have 50-50 custody, then no parent pays any child support, because they're paying for the child during the time that they have them. What they do is they work out, and for the different agreements, they would work out how much child support the person was to pay. And if you have the child 10% of the time, then you pay 90% of what the child support would be. If you have the child or children 20%, then you pay 80% of what the child support would be, up to 50-50 where you pay nothing. So that's where that's effective. McMahon also cited statistics saying that among heterosexual married couples with younger children, the mother was less likely to participate in the workplace than the father. Yes, but then women are less likely to participate in the workforce than men anyway. In April, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics released a report, Employment Characteristics of Families 2021, that said that 93.5% of married fathers participate in the labour force, compared to 69.3% of married mothers. Yes, because if you've got a child, you're going to need to provide for it, so you got to go to work. It really is that simple. The report said 95.6% of mothers with children younger than 6 years old participated in the workforce. Of mothers with children between the ages of 6 and 17, 75.5% participated in the labour workforce. I've got this really fucking strange idea. What about mothers of very young children stay home and fucking raise the children? Why are we having policies that are getting mothers with young children off the work, having the daycare outsourced and indoctrinated by official means? By contrast, fathers with children under the age of 6 were more likely to participate in the labour force than those whose youngest child was aged 6 to 17. McMahon's interpretation of labour statistics among married heterosexual parents was that mothers were more likely to be at home caring for their children than fathers. Groundbreaking. What a fucking surprise. It's still mostly mothers doing the caretaking. Our presumption of 50-50 custody doesn't match what's going on. I'm very strange that the way he's attacking this is on whether or not people work. That seems quite strange to me. He also said people in abusive relationships would be less likely to leave their relationships or report abuse under the new law. Lawmakers noted that when Kentucky passed similar 50-50 custody pursuant law, the number of abuse reports decreased. What about this? What about this strange notion that a lot of those abusive relationships were bilateral abuse, and the people who were constantly fighting each other decided to split up and have the kids half the time each and not have the kids in a fucking toxic environment? That's actually a good thing. Smith interpreted the drop as fewer people making false accusations in an attempt to gain custody. That is true. Where it's 50-50, you've got less of a chance with a false accusation. McMahon said it was because victims were too afraid to report abuse of 50-50 custody assumption. What also happens is there are a hell of a lot of false accusations in family court. In fact, whenever mothers go to the likes of Women's Aid, the first thing they do is tell them to start getting accusations made and get restraining orders. And just having a quick chat through a quick look through the chat. Delete those toe pics. Is there toe pics in the chat? Hello, no chance. Glad to see you here. It didn't give you the gender, no chance. It's hard to say. Right. Okay. I think that's all the stuff that I need to check with in the chat. So we'll get back to this. If a woman wants to get out of a particularly abusive relationship and she's worried she'll lose in court and going on a 50-50 presumption, the child could spend half their time with an abuser. Well, do you know what? What happens currently is whenever a man's in an abusive relationship and he has kids, whenever he walks out, he has to leave his children with an abusive mother 100% of the time. And newsflash, abusive people abuse whoever's available to them. So whenever they were abusing the father and leaving the children alone, whenever he walks out, the abuse then gets hurled on the children. And nothing's going to be perfect. We could do, but I think this is going to be safer all around. Smith said he understands the risk some people have in leaving abusive relationships or relationships where a parent might be suffering from substance use disorder. Never heard of that. All this does is say we have to start in the middle, Smith said. You can't start at one end or the other. These protections are still going to be in place. The judge is still going to have the power to rule on that. The law requires a 50-50 physical custody split be the starting point of a family court judge's deliberation on how much time a child spends with the physical custody of their parent. There are at least 29 arguments set forth in state law and legal precedent that people can use to give or take away time between parents. McMahon prepared a website listing all the ways parents can argue against equal physical custody agreement. If parents reach a physical custody agreement before coming to court, the 50-50 presumption doesn't have to be accepted. The law also contains provisions regarding who has provided the most care for the children, as well as consideration of the wills and wants of children 14 years and older and how much time they spend. Do you know what? See, whenever parents who happen to figure out that them being together is not a good thing and they actually love their children more than they hate the other parent, they come to an agreement on their own and they don't go anywhere near family court. Family court is only for situations where the two parents can't come to an agreement. In addition to making equally split custody, the presumption at the beginning of the case, the law allows for people in custody disputes to appeal a family court judge's ruling to the West Virginia Intermediate Court of Appeals while their case is pending. This is the groundbreaker. This is a groundbreaker. Previously, whenever you had a ruling against you in family court, the only place you could appeal to was the family court itself. And this taking that outside a court of appeals, where you're going to have other people looking at it, you're probably going to have to provide some actual evidence in the court of appeals, and it may or may not be as secret as the family courts currently are, because currently putting on Facebook that you're appearing in family court is enough to put you in contempt of that court and end up with you not getting any custody at all. So that's where the move is good. The final bill that became law does not allow for closed cases to be opened for a judge to reconsider the physical custody of a child. A previous version of the bill allowed that, but lawmakers removed that provision. So it's not going to be backdated. This is just for people starting to go through the system now. Above all, McMahon, who doesn't practice in child custody cases, suggested that anyone entering into divorce or child custody proceedings consult their lawyer first. I would agree with all of that. Now, what I want to go back to is this term, the best interest of the child. I'm going to take this bit down. Stop screen, sir. I wonder what the settlement would have been if Amber Heard and Johnny Depp had a child together. I think that's really confusing, because it would totally depend on. You'd have another case where they went through family court trying to decide on who had custody of the child, and then there would be child support and how much you would have to pay. So I think it would make that a bit. It's quite hard to say what way that would have went. I'm surprised that. What I am surprised is Amber Heard now has a child with her newest lesbian girlfriend. I'm surprised that didn't come out a bit more with regard to how much you have to pay. And it's really hard to tell on that one. Nah. Yes. Where was I going to go? Yes, history of family court. So this term, the best interest of the child, it first arrived in Parliament in the second custody of infants bill. I need to zoom this in a bit. Zoom this in. the only thing which I'm going to talk about whenever I'm on with Sensum is I've been a big bit disorganized today. Switching from night shift to day shift, uh, sort of, I never really got things as organized as I would have liked to. And I was doing a very quick search, which should have been incredibly easy, on the term best interest of the child. First arrived with the Custody of Infants Act, the second one, uh, where the first Custody of Infants Act, 1839, gave custody of the child to the mother to the age of 4 on the tender years doctrine, on the basis that uh, the father could not breastfeed. And then in 18, 1873, it was changed, and right, we've got that up. Here we go. Yes, the Second Custody of Infants Act. Uh, Historically, English family law gave custody of the children to the father in case of divorce. In the 1800s and before the 1800s, children were viewed as property and women had very little rights. That is not true. Uh, the reason why the children went directly to the father was because the father was the one that had the ability to pay for them. And women had pretty much the same rights as men, with the exception of uh, in marriage and after divorce. However, in 1839, Custody of Infants Act was enacted in England. This act enabled the judge to use his own discretion in a custody dispute. Note that it automatically gave the custody to the mother. The child should go to the mother. Also, this act shifted custody from men to and established a presumption that mothers would get custody of children who were under the age of 7. By the late 1800s, 1873 to be exact, this presumption of the mother gaining custody of their young children was extended to the age of 16. This doctrine, this doctrine was already known as the tender years doctrine and spread to the majority of states in the United States. The doctrine reigned supreme for hundreds of years, and the basic premise of the doctrine was that the child was best cared for by the mother. Whenever it says for hundreds of years, that means until the present day. There's a general implicit bias that the mother will get custody of the child. But up until very recently, in this bit here, where it says about the presumption of mother gaining custody of the young children was extended to the age of 16, there would have been something in here about as it is in the best interest of the child. And in all of the Wikipedia articles about the Custody of Infants Act 1873, until very recently, it mentioned the term the best interest of the child. And that has only changed since these laws come in and actually put a definition of the best interest of the child. So we'll have that. So that's my bit of a take on that. So there you go. I'm just going to check through the chat. The fella had the means, and they still do today. It's just the woman nick it off him. It's pretty much how it goes. Right. Just checking the chat. Right. There's nothing there that I really need to jump into. Right, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to watch a little bit of Strange Sport, and then I'm going to bring Sensum in for the next bit. I'm going to remove that. We'll do our first Strange Sport, and then I'm going to get Sensum in. Right, here we go. Right. That copy did not just quite work well. Right. Getting this up. Skip those odds. Right. Here we go. Oh, theater mode. Let's get it looking right. StreamYard. Share. Share screen. Share screen. Chrome tab.
Gang, Run London evading. Case 1.
And it's tag.
Athletes ready! But now we are very much on with World Chase Tag and Greg Ball, team captain for Marrero Gang. And whoa, he pulls up, and he is hobbling around. And this could be absolute disaster for the 3-time champions.
Jeez, this is a star player as well. Greg Ball, not only the captain of Marrero Gang, but one of the better players. We see here, as he's vaulted through the mountain, he's landed bad on that right foot, real bad. Slow replay here, caught his back off the top of the mountain, put him off slightly, and then he's twisted that right ankle.
Chase 2, Run London evading. 1-0, Run London.
Athletes ready! And more importantly, that is a point lost, or a point won by Run London. Marrero Gang, the 3-time champs, are behind the 8 ball already, as Alex goes over the ridge and tailing under the mountain as he looks to close down that space around by the front line. He makes a dive and he's out of the core, and that's it. That's going to be 2-0, surely.
Yeah.
Surely. He goes on, and the tag is made. It matters not. He has left the quad.
Fuck, I said all that muted. Typical, yes. That was a fail. Yes. Where were Don Browning says to be better 7-year-olds. Sensum's loving it. And 2 even parkour, bro. So I'm gonna watch one more of these, and then I'm gonna bring Sensum in. So that's what's happening. Take that away. One more.
That does not count. And I'm not even sure Run London know that they've just gone 2-0 up on one of the favourites for the title.
The newbies are looking pretty strong here. This is a strong start.
Chase 3, Run London evading. 2-0, Run London.
Athletes ready! Well, it is 2-0 to Run London. We might be seeing a massive story developing with Marrero Gang struggling, but finally, something goes according to plan with a tag made just by the ridge.
Chase 4, Marrero Gang evading. 2-0, Run London.
Athletes ready!
Right, that's that. Right, and with no further ado, I'm going to Sensum. What about you, brother?
Hello, mate. How are you doing? I've actually seen this because it's on on the ESPN channel, on the freebie channel, on if you've got on the old Sky Sports. I've watched that a few times. There's a couple on there that took me by surprise. That's one of them, Tig. You know, like you say, it's Tig.
Yeah.
But some of the buggers get up to. They had this team in where, you know, somebody mentioned in the chat. I think was it DJ Resisting Lies mentioned parkour, and there was one bloke. He literally, there was like this massive bloody. Like I say, all of the things are about 6 foot high. And one of the blokes, he sort of ran at this thing, jumped up onto the top of the bloody scaffold. I mean, you know, instant death if you fuck up. Jumped off that, grabbed the bar on the other one, and like a bloody gymnast, and propelled himself at this rate of knots through it and fucking tagged the bloke with his feet. I've never seen anything like it. It was absolutely unbelievable. You know, and then the other one that I used to like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's because it was Red, sponsored by Red Bull. These nutters, you find these abandoned bloody warehouses and whatnot, and they race bloody drone, like these speed drones around. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that, but I'm going to look it up now. I'll be doing a sample of that.
Red Bull's like these speed drones. I'll tell you what, they're winning fucking big money. You know, you think you're laughing, but because they're sponsored by the likes of Red Bull and all them, you know, money's no object. So, you know, they're knocking out 100 grand each tournament. And like the World Championships, I think the last one got like $250,000, unbelievable. Dollars this is. So about 50 quid an hour money, yeah?
Yeah, that's roundabout. But yeah, no, I've been, whenever I started streaming, one of the things I started to look up was, so the Red Bull soapbox, I've been watching that for years, but one of the things I started doing was I came across one weird sport, and I've been trying to find stuff to put in every week. It amazes you what people are doing and what they're capable of. Like that tag, although it's a game that we played as kids, but they have turned it into, these people are athletes now. That's you know, it's not your ordinary run-on-the-mill person doing that no more.
That one that that one that Streaky put up about the Red Bull soapbox, that's on fucking Dave, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
The thing is, you've got the sublime to the ridiculous. So you've got people who literally just turn up to like fucking die, almost die, like crash into the first obstacle they come across. And then you've got the other end of the ones where they're really serious about it, and they've designed this, like, you know, bob-on bloody cart with, like, because they're all from, you know, MIT.
Austin Martin put a team in.
Who?
Austin Martin.
Yeah? How did they do?
One of the Red Bull races, Austin Martin put a team in to let their apprentices build the car. They won the thing, right? But you know, but you raise, and then you've got the ones where the wheels being halfway down.
Well, yeah, you know, they all used the you know, was it the silver? Was it silver Swan or Silver Crest pram wheels, which are fucking shit? They were rubbish as pram wheels, but
Silver Cross.
Do you ever see they did a one in Paris, because they take it all over the place, and they did the Red Bull soapbox racing in Paris, and the French military entered a soapbox cart, and they lost because it would only go backwards.
The cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Oh fuck, that's a cracker. That is a cracker.
So we'll tell them.
Yeah. That's excellent. I was listening to your stream the other night with Ayatollah, which was very interesting. Anybody hasn't seen it, go watch that. That was a good stream. And there was a couple of things that came up in that I thought I would ask you, pick your brains about. So,
there's
the first one,
there, so be sparing.
Yeah, no, it's all good. There was a bit you were talking about where Ayatollah had said that he can't understand why nobody actually fights back or does anything about or enrichment as it happens, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to get your take on this. I'm just going to share this, and then I'll explain to you what's happening. If this works. Cookies. I've got to accept the cookies. See if this video has disappeared now. I will go nuts. All right. Here we go. All right.
United Irish band, make our land and nation once again.
Right, I'm just pausing it there. What you've got there is you've got an orange parade going past. See these guys walking? That's an orange parade. And what you've got is this fuckwit in the car blurring out with tones, Irish nationalist music, and giving them a wave and stuff, and basically trying to wind them up. So we'll let the rest of this play. And that is a double jab as administered by the South Belfast Young Conquerors.
Well, he got off better. He got off more likely than if he'd had Dr. Ouchie Fauci's double jabs, wouldn't he? So he himself lucky.
He should consider himself very lucky that he got hit up with as little as what he did. But the police have fucked up there as well. That was from last year, and now they're not letting cars anywhere near parades.
Well, you've got to think of the respectability in that. I mean, they don't. The problem is, I mean, in this instance here, it's sort of the sectarian stuff, but you can echo exactly the same thing, which is what Ayatollah was saying, like where you got people. And the thing, the hell of it is, the chap who set about Mr. fucking antagonist in the car there, I'm hoping he didn't get any, nothing went wrong with him. And the reason for that is because neither of those two guys, although they're on absolutely diametrically opposed political spectrum with regards to nationalism and, unionism, they're both sort of, in the wider scheme of things, both of those people are just, as far as the system's concerned, can fuck off. This is the thing. If the reverse had been true, and let's say, for instance, it had been, the Holy Mary parade or whatever, and you had some Shalwa, a peaceful type, blasting out, Bangra music or whatever the fuck it is that they play and doing the old alley snack bar, and somebody a little bit pissed off at the indignation of that, because let's face it, if it was the other way around, they wouldn't even get anywhere near, where they were praying or worshipping or whatever, because Plod would have them straight in the back of a Black Mariah. Do you know what I mean? But let's just say it was that way around, and some, staunch Catholic was to turn around in this country, I'm talking about in England, wherever, was to turn around and say that's fucking disrespectful. And they get a chip on the shoulder, and bloke sort of gives him a couple of ouchie 2 jabs. Guarantee you that bloke will never see the light of day again. He'd be fucking straight in prison, raked over the coals, with a judge crying that he can't put a fucking black cap on. But if you were to do the reverse of that, so we're just going through what they call Eid tikka masala, or whatever it's called. If you then reverse those roles, so they're doing this parade for Eid or what the fuck ever, and it is specifically that group that does kick off in the most part with these things, and you had a staunch Catholic who was the bloke in the car, sort of playing bloody anti, the greatest hits from the Manchester Arena, including explosive hits from Ariana Grande or wherever, and matey boy out of the crowd, the old Ayatollah, or the bloody what they called the bloody preacher type, was to rock over and give him a couple of jabs, then he'd be thrown into, so the bloke in the car would be thrown into prison for antagonizing the protected group, and the other fellow would be lauded as a hero. So, like I say, in this instance here, it's sort of honours even. The state doesn't care, because it doesn't care about, literally doesn't care about our people. Yeah, and I term our people in ranks of sort of Europeans. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about us. They want to eradicate us. The reason why the powers that be want to eradicate Europeans, and why we've gone from a sort of a 40% share at the turn of the century of the global population to a mere 8%, is because we have proven time and time again that as a race of people, and as a nation, set of nations as a whole, we fucking get shit done. We don't take shit lightly. People start oppressing us, we fight back. We've proven ourselves time and time again, going around, literally traveling the continent. So I think there's, in this instance here, for me, like I say, I'm separate to those particular struggles that you guys have had to endure in Ireland, in Northern Ireland. Although we are more than aware of the troubles, etc., that kind of thing. But we are disjointed from that. You know what I mean? We are separate to that. But if you draw parallels, basically, the system doesn't give a shit, basically, because you're doing their bidding. It's two white guys fucking fighting each other. That's great as far as they're concerned. They love that. They fucking love it. But if you flip it over, if it's the the protected minority demographic who's doing the shit stirring, in other words, the bloke in the car, and we're the one who say, "Oi, fuckwit, bump, have a bit of that." That person who asserts themselves, and rightfully so, in their nation state, they're the ones who get demonized and locked away. Once again, flip the demographics. You've got the Shalwars walking past, and you've got the fucking, loudmouth in the car who's one of us. Boom, gets two upside the head. The police will arrest him, throw him away, and the other bloke's lauded as a fucking hero. So this is what I mean. This is why we've got this two-tier system of policing in the judiciary. And they say, "Oh no, it is no." Well, it fucking is, because it happens in real time. It's happening literally every fucking moment of the day.
Well, we have a very two-tiered system over here. Had that been a nationalist attacking a Protestant, there would have been nothing done. They had a manhunt out for him. I don't think they actually got him. I think what happened was, whenever they went to the band, every member of the band said that he was a sidewalker that walked one for one parade and left, and they don't know his name, and they had a bit of a problem actually finding him. But they wanted him jailed. What I will say is, it's not that long ago that two British corporals ended up in a car in a IRA funeral by mistake and got pulled out of the car and executed. It's there's a lot going on, but I thought that was a bit funny, because they basically picked the wrong band to fuck about with. There's several bands that walk that would have been very predictable, and he got off real late. But Other than that, it's hard to know. What else was I going to say? Yes, the other thing I wanted to ask about, what I heard, you were talking about your emblem and the black and white comes from your football team. Yes?
Port Vale.
Yeah, Port Vale. Right.
Yeah, Port Vale. Yeah.
Yes, a nice Northern working class football team. Have you seen what's happening with the England national team at the moment about their kit?
I don't know, mate, but I saw a very depressing image. I don't know if it was the under 21s or the under 19s, but Spot on a Domino comes to mind. You know, I will say that. I literally, I lost. I mean, if you're going to watch football, watch it at the Port Vale level. You don't want to get any higher than that because it's still not fucking contaminated with the woke bullshit, and you still get the odd fucking 2-footed challenge, you know. Whereas Nancy boys and the hundreds of millions of players, you know, who fall over a blade of grass in the Premiership and that, you know, that I just can't. It's not football to me. I used to play football as a kid. You know, I played. I was never any good, but I played for the team because I was centre half. And my job literally, I was a fucking big unit. And when I say big, I mean fat. I don't mean fit. But my job was making sure that ball wasn't in my half. So I get to sort of get the ball through fair means of foul and hoof it up the pitch. That was my job. If the ball wasn't in my half of the pitch, they couldn't score. End of story. Nowadays, you know, it's like, oh, you know, you don't get a Stuart Pearce or a fucking what was he called? That Liverpool lad, right?
Tommy Smith.
No, Mark Wright, fucking Liverpool. He was a monster. Mark Wright, yeah, he was. Mark Wright and Stuart Pearce and Vinnie Jones. They were proper footballers. There you go.
Yeah. Before that, we had a guy. Liverpool had a guy, Tommy Smith. And whenever he took a knee, you got to find out how fast the other fucker could hop. And now we've gone all a bit nuts. Well, this is something else. I want your the England swimming team want their shorts changed. It's not practical because they wear an all white kit. It's not practical. Well, when it's that time of the month, England star Beth Mead reveals the team have discussed scrapping white shorts with manufacturers Nike due to concerns over playing during periods.
I'm certain Nike do red.
Yeah, well, they could try playing for Wales. England stars. Now I'll put stars in inverted commas here because I don't think they're stars. They play at the level of 14-year-old boys. But England stars have spoken to Nike about scrapping. Where's this music coming from?
It's not me, mate. Oh, that video at the bottom there. Look at the state of that.
It's a fucking advertisement in the Daily Mail.
It'll be advertising women's football because if you go to their free to enter, you know, because every single women's football competition is free to enter. So if you go there, you'll have a great time with the other 3 people who are there.
Yeah. Yes, England stars have spoken to Nike about scrapping white shorts and the kit over concerns about their period. England began their Euro 2022 campaign on Wednesday evening in the best possible way, beating Austria 1-0 in front of a sold-out Old Trafford. I disagree. It wasn't a sold-out Old Trafford. All while wearing the white kit. However, according to the Telegraph, the design is causing anxiety among players, and discussions have been taking place with the EFA and their official kit manufacturer over the possibility of switching up the bottom half of the design. It's something we fed back to Nike on Wednesday, said Wednesday's goal scoring hero, Beth Mead. Hopefully they're going to change the colour. Now, if they do change the colour, what they're changing is, all right, that goes on to talk about Wimbledon and all sorts of crap. Get rid of that. But what I'm thinking is, if they change the colour, it's the whole England kit they're going to be changing. So the men's team's going to have to change, the kids' teams, the under-21s, all of that. And there's a lot of tail wagging the dog going on there. What do you think?
Well, in England, we've always had red, white, and blue. So we've had red tops and blue shorts. We've had blue tops, white shorts, blue shorts, white top. So they can intermingle those colours to suit themselves. And usually, if the top and the shorts, like say, if you had white shirts and blue shorts, the socks would usually be red. So, you know, they don't have to sort of change up the kit or anything, because they can wear red shorts and a white top, or red shorts and a blue top, and then wear the socks at the other third of the colours without any bother whatsoever. Once again, to me, this is just a complete and utter fucking non-issue, because you're not telling me that Nike don't do red shorts as well, or they couldn't do them. I mean, they've got, you know, what is it? You know, a few 100,000 fucking kids in India and China fucking blistering the fingers to make this shit that comes out of Nike. Do you know what I mean? You know, all for sustainable development, but not so much when it comes to their fucking sweatshop employees. But yeah, it's to me, it's a non-issue. And the reason why she's raising it is just because it's like, oh, we're the victims. We're women, we are victims. We are women, we are victims. We are women, we are victims. And like you said before, they're only as good as 14-year-old boys, which is provably so. There's no exaggeration there. And the fact of the matter is, if there were, you know, let's just say, for instance, that football was a sport where women were the absolute fucking panacea of football in excellence, the world would rush to watch that, because you want to watch the best. You want to see, you know, the best of whatever sport it happens to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if women were the best at soccer or football, you know, soccer is in the American sense and footy over here, people would still go and watch it. People would still go and watch, you know, football if it was the top level, you know, like the fucking highest level, if they were the absolute best at that particular sport. I don't think that the gender in that instance, when it comes to sport in particular, because I used to love my sport, I really did, and I love golf now, and I like the ladies' game as much as I like the man's game. But there's absolutely no way on this earth or fullers a lady golfer, or a true lady golfer, although we've got a few trans dipping over the fence now, a true lady golfer could compete at the same level as a male golfer, purely because of the physiognomy, the strength differential, etc. So, like I say, you know, what's this one here? So we've got this table up here. Is this men or
no? These are the prices for the women's Euros. So England group matches,
yeah,
ticket plus. So that's a ticket and hospitality and stuff's coming out £79.
Well, how much? They'd be like 500 quid, wouldn't they, for blokes?
Yes, that would be 750 plus.
More.
Right. Category 1, the best ticket is 40 quid.
Yeah.
And this is for England as the host.
Yeah.
Whenever you go down, you're getting into 25 quid, 15 quid into championship matches. Nah.
I think you might have pressed the wrong button there. However, what we shall continue to do is the fact that those prices, if you were to look at the men's game in certain categories, would be at least 10 times higher. And people, I wouldn't pay it, because one, I couldn't afford it, but two, I think it would be a complete and utter waste of money in this day and age of the absolute shambles that is men's football today, the absolute cookery and non-entities that exist within that particular sport. But if you know, there are people who are still there, you know, you've still got your sort of, you know, your football nationalisms, your bulldog nationalists who love the bread and circuses. And in fairness, you know, I know not even today, but I used to know of people who, if there was a big international tournament that was coming anywhere near Europe, or even in the States, like the big one We weren't even in it. 94, USA 94. I knew of people who literally spent something like, I think it was, and this was 94, and they spent something like just shy of $2,000 to go over to the States and watch a couple of matches over there. And they went over supporting Jackie Charlton's fucking Republic of Ireland side because we didn't make it. We didn't even get in 94. 94 was the year where I think the USA might have even stopped us from getting in. You know, they were already through or whatever it was. But yeah, so everybody was pretend fucking Republic of Ireland people. You know, footy fans all of a sudden became pretend Republic of Ireland fans, which is pretty fair because, in fairness, the Republic of Ireland team at the time pretty much was the England B team. You know, that was it. Andy fucking what's his face from Birmingham, Aston Villa player, and what was his name now? Fucking Andy, what's his face? Andy Townsend. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on there, wasn't he? He was fucking Republic of Ireland because he couldn't get a slot in the England team.
The Republic of Ireland at that stage was pretty much all English people.
Yeah, it literally was. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Did I disappear off the screen for a while there? Because I think I knocked myself out. No.
Yeah, you did, mate. But
I
held the show together for you.
Yeah,
mate,
you did. It's a good job you were on, because otherwise I'd have been. What the hell? I don't know what happened. But yeah, we're on like for the non-host, all the matches. 39 quid for a ticket plus 20 quid for a Category A ticket. Like, compared to what you pay for for a football match, that's the other thing. Did you know there's no such thing as men's football?
You what, mate?
There's no such thing as men's football.
Is there not? Who says?
No. The rule book. You see this, you'll like this. I'm going to stop back to screen share, and what I'm going to get up is the rules of football. Once I find this, yep, laws of association football. Rule 3: the players. Right, just get this up. Yep. Here we go. Share screen. Chrome tab. Right, just check that's up. Right, that's up. Right. A match is played by two teams, each with a maximum of 11 players. One must be the goalkeeper. A match may not start or continue if either team has fewer than 7 players. So, the laws of football state that it's made up. The teams are made up of players, so they could be men, women.
Hold on a minute. Sorry, mate. Just to stop you in your flow there.
Yeah.
So, if, say, for instance, one team started with 10 players, would they get a rush goalie? Do you know that term?
Yes.
A rush goalie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the probably could. Well, there's nothing in the laws stopping you playing that tonight. Your goalkeeper's allowed outside his box.
Yeah, rush goalie. Remember that? That was a fucking thing.
Yes, I remember that all the time. I actually started a cup match for the wee team I played in. With we started with 8 players because one of the cars got lost on its way to the ground. It was fucking nuts. We ended up beat 4-3. And what happened was in the second half, we were all just too knackered because it was in the second half before we had 11 players on. Fucking nuts. But
I remember though, on the rule that we had when we were at school, if you had a rush, if you had 10 versus 11, you'd have rush goalie. But the thing is, anybody who was near the back could be goalie. So the 10 the 10-player side would usually annihilate the 11-player side because any fucker could pretend to be the goalie. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
really good.
Yes, I remember doing that as well. Yes, all you had to do was get inside the box and shout, "I'm keeper," and that was you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't see that coming in. Although I did notice that the Scottish goalkeeper in the last Euros was trying that and got caught out with a wonder strike from inside their own half. He was doing something fucking about in the centre circle, and the ball broke forward, and he was running back, and the other guy fucking headed
That
for
was
his own
that
half.
Orgay Agita, wasn't it? Was that against Cameroon, wasn't it? He was pissed about that Orgay or Rene Agita,
Yeah,
the fucking Colombian
with
goalkeeper.
the
used to
scorpion
piss
kick.
around. Yeah.
Yeah,
used to and he tried to be a clever twat, and was it Roger Miller or something nicked the ball off him and scored?
He tried to do a Cruyff turn on Roger Miller, and he nicked the ball off him, stuck in the net.
Yeah, I do remember
it was
that
funny
one.
as fuck. But yeah, so according to the rules of the game, there's no such thing as men's football, and any women that are complaining about not getting the same money as men, just step up and play on the men's team, or playing the actual first team, and not the female version. Now there are rules in women's soccer about it only being about men being disbarred from playing it, but with regards to normal association football and the rules of FIFA, UEFA, and all the associations, it says that the team shall be made up of 11 players with no mention whatsoever of gender. If women are good enough, they can play.
Well, in fairness,
Mm.
I'd say, yeah, okay. In fairness, if that was the case, like I said, if real, and I mean that in the truest sense, if real ladies were, the most talented players on the, around at the time, I've got no problem with that. But you got to remember, even though it doesn't seem like it these days, football is a contact sport. So obviously, if they get drubbed, it's unlucky. There could be like a bloody, a little centre forward or something like that. But football's football. If you're going to get sort of bloody taken out by a Vinnie Jones type, then unfortunately that's the way it is. But you will never ever see people like that, and then all you get is fucking purple-haired bean flickers like that Megan Rapinoe in the USA, who doesn't even fucking play now. Yeah, saying, "Oh, we want equal pay, we want equal this, we want equal that," and I'll say, "Okay, Megan, you get fucking equal gates. We'll do. That's a deal." Oh, sorry, you can't, can you? Because the last home crowd you played to, they're all sat on a fucking settee. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah. The other thing is, what was I going to say? Yes. Did you watch Harry's Full English? The veterans team that played the German team.
I did, mate. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yes. Well, their first warm-up match, they played under 14-year-old boys and got annihilated. The under 14 team took the professionals apart because they simply just could not run the same as them.
I remember.
Right.
I remember Neil Ruddock had the turning circle of the Ark Royal. Do you remember when he came back?
Yes. Right. Yeah, but the match, the warm-up match after that, they played a professional women's team. I think it was Coventry, or I think it was actually Leicester. I think that's who it was. But the women just looked shell-shocked. And they beat the women 1-0. But that was with Robbie Fowler consistently chipping the ball over the net from about 5 yards out, because he just didn't want to beat them 10 or 11-0. They were like, yeah, we're ahead. We'll do everything that we need to do to get the scoring chance, and then we'll just not score.
Yeah, I think, to do remember that. Yeah, they did go easy on them, and like I say, most of them were fat old men like me basically, and Neil Razor Ruddock.
Yeah,
But Rob, I have to say now, I know he got fucking besmirched because he used to like the old Bolivian marching powder, but Robbie Fowler was a bit fucking special. He genuinely was a very, very fucking special football player. I don't mind saying that now. He was really fucking good. Probably one of the best footballers I've ever seen live. What the shit that he was doing, I could not fucking fathom it. It was poetry. It literally was poetry in motion. I never had the opportunity. I was probably just a little lad, and I probably wasn't really into football at the time. But I never got a chance to see Geordie Best. That would have been immense. I did get to see Keegan when he was in his dotage, in a celebrity sort of like a what was it called, exhibition match type of thing. But but I would say the best footballer I've ever seen live for skill alone was probably Robbie Fowler. He was fucking unbelievable.
My uncle played with Geordie Best in the kids team.
Did he? Bloody hell,
yeah. Although having said that, you got Geordie played for quite a few teams, and if you were good at football and East Belfast, you probably played at least one match or thereabouts, either with him or against him. That up to about under 14 level. But my uncle used to play it regularly with him in the same team.
There's always. I remember years and years ago, it was in the 80s. I don't know, you don't know age-wise what your thing is, but I remember it would have been in the early 80s, and they did this sort of who would have been the best. Was it Keegan or was it Geordie Best? And it was like, I'm like sort of sat there thinking, hold on a minute. Well, Keegan's good, but fuck me, Geordie Best is the best. That's why it's called Best. And I remember because they did it a bit like Eamon Andrews' what was it called? This Is Your Life type audience, yeah. And he had people who were trying to sort of, be on Kevin Keegan's side and the folks who were on Geordie Best's side. But it literally became like every single one of them said, no, sorry. Even Kevin Keegan himself probably would have said, no, sorry, Geordie Best. He is the best. I know that, when the England football team of '66 played, the England football team who won the fucking World Cup, when you had all of the massive stars at the time, so you had the likes of Eusebio who's playing for Portugal, and bloody, Pele was just sort of in his beginning, in his pomp, if you like, something a bit special in Pele. Not one of the fuckers could name anybody in the England squad. Every fucking one of them knew who Geordie Best was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the difference, yeah?
Alan Ball played the whole that final match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alan Ball, yeah, fuck me, he was Stoke manager for a long time. In fairness, Alan Ball was a decent bloke. He was a decent man, Alan Ball, in fairness.
Yeah, he always seemed...
he kept Greavesy out, wasn't it? That was the big thing then. It was Ball who kept Greavesy out in the final, wasn't it? Do you remember that, Jimmy Greaves?
Yeah. Who was it one of my West Ham players as well? Who was scored two?
Oh, crikey.
I know this
Jeff
stuff.
Hurst scored.
Jeff Hurst.
Didn't he?
Yep. Jeff Hurst. I think that's who was kept Greavesy out. Alan Ball was midfield, was he not?
Well, he was.
Yep.
I think he was more of a. Well, he was more of a. Well, he might. I think he was striker. When he Ball, he was a striker because they said it was Ball that kept. Because Alan Ball was the baby of the team at the time.
Oh, resisting the legs is chipping in there.
Yeah, well, fuck you. You've got that Archie fucking Gemmell goal. Fuck off.
Yep. the Gemmell goal.
Look, resisting the lies, I'm telling you now, right? what do you call a Scotsman who makes it to the playoffs in the World Cup? Referee. Couldn't resist that. Fucking, he's still about there causing trouble. I mean, we're all friends here. There's always got to be a shit stir, hasn't it? But I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know. Let me check the chat because the chat are always a lot more knowledgeable than me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Alan Ball who kept Greavesy out because the management of the time fell out with Greavesy because Greavesy was probably one of our best players. Yeah, he was probably, he definitely was one of our best players, but he had that sort of aura of, I know I'm pretty fucking good. And the management didn't like that at the time. And yet now, if you haven't got that aura, you won't get a game. And, Dawn Browning's talking about her legs. This is a children's television program you're watching here. Do you mind? We won't stand for this degeneracy. My email, if you've got any spare pictures, Dawn, is Sensum.
Yes, we can go with that. That's all good. It was there. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah. No, fucking that's about that. My mind is just.
It was women's football, but there's no gender in football. I think that was the main thread, wasn't it?
Yes, the main thing. Well, the main thing is. Well, the other thing is, do you think that women suddenly bitching about their period and all their issues, because that generally is one of the issues that women complain about? Do you think them bringing that up now has anything to do with the national team doing all this kneeling and talking about political issues? That they have opened the door, and now the women's team are going to try to outdo everything and get their issues brought in?
It's orchestrated, isn't it? Because ordinarily, it's basically the women's, the women's national football team really should carry about the same amount of clout as my team, Port Vale, if not slightly less, yeah? But once again, it's this over-promotion of the false and, this artificial narrative that has to be promulgated because, once again, they are a useful tool to drive wedges between men and women. You've got to think on all of these evil demons who are orchestrating every single facet. There's people say, you can't control everything. No, but what they do is they put people of positions of responsibility and power in these places to gatekeep for them, to make sure that what their will, they'll say, this is the direction that we're moving in. The direction today is north. Every fucking organization around the world that's part of this fucking web of deception will pull north. And then the next week they'll say, right, we're pulling east, so they'll pull east, and then we'll pull west, then we'll pull south. So what you've got to think on is that, wherever there's an opportunity by the monster, and the monster is this minuscule fucking OXO cube that sits on top of the world's population. I'm talking about a few hundred people max around the world who think that they own and fucking control everything when they fucking don't. If we could convince the masses around the world that the problem in this world is this little fucking minuscule OXO cube, right? And instead of focusing on your governments or focusing on other people in your community, other people in your nation, or other people in your continent, and realize these are the fuckers that are causing all the bother. Yeah, these are the ones that are fucking kicking the hornet's nest all the time and rabbling up the fucking shit. Then they'd be very easy to depose because, like I say, there are only a few hundred people around the world. We're fucking billions. Yeah? But it'll never happen because the spider's web has got to find a way of subdividing and subdividing and subdividing. So you've got, what's your 50-50 split? Well, it's men, women. Right, let's get those fuckers against each other. Right, so we've sorted out a 50-50 split between men and women. What's next? What's the next big? Oh, religion. Right. Well, fucking let's target religion. Let's get all these religious fucking parties against each other. What's next on the race? Right. Okay. Race. Yeah. Okay. Let's get all the races fighting against each other. What's next? Countries. Right. We'll get all the fucking countries fighting against one another. It's all orchestrated. It's all designed because since at least, the last 100, if not 150 years, the people at the top of the power chain have known, if the proles, which is also the plebs, if you like, realize what they're doing to us and micromanaging everything that we do, they give us this, they're supposed to give us this false sense of democracy that our vote counts, and it doesn't. You can replace Boris with Rishi tomorrow. You could replace Boris with fucking Dame Keir Starmer. It wouldn't make a gnat's knacker of difference because they all serve the same fucking evil demons at the top of the power. Whether or not they do it directly, it doesn't matter because they are being paid off or they're being controlled through either monetary gain or through blackmail. They're all geared towards protecting this tiny little fucking ox cube that sits on this vast pyramid of the rest of the world. But it's like I say, it's infinitely small. This tiny little ox cube is on this pyramid. The pyramid is unbelievably flat. You can't see the lowest rung, which is us, the people, from left to right. You can't see it. It spans the world, yeah? The next lot you've got, which are like your middle managers, like sort of in the tens, hundreds of thousands. Then you've got your politician class, which are probably in the thousands. But the fuckers who are controlling the whole lot is this tiny little fucking oxo cube. And so even if you were to take those first three layers, so the little tiny oxo cube, the ministers, and then the fucking managerial types, they rank what? About, I would say, 500,000, 500,000 maximum, absolute maximum around the world. We've got 7.5 billion who could fucking take them out without a second guess, if they realised what was being done to them by that little fucking tiny oxo cube on the top.
There's two things that reminds me of. There's a quote that is attributed to Goering, and whether or not there's a lot of quotes that apparently, if all the quotes that are attributed to him are true, the man never stopped talking. But the one I'm thinking of is, the more we do to them, the less they seem to believe we are doing it. And the other thing is, and there's a page I found really interesting in the book 1984, and I can't get that off the top of my head, but it was along the lines of the world is ruled by a mixture of managers, civil servants, trade unionists, government teachers, professors, and I wish I actually had the book in front of me because I lent it to my mate. But whenever I looked at what happened with the Kufa Leaf, it seemed very fucking accurate about who was running everything. Professionals that we didn't elect, that run NGOs, and the way the trade unions jumped in and basically shut down the economy was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, well, it's born of the globalist elite and the globalist agenda, and I was listening. This is the thing that really winds me up. Tonight, I was listening before I started the Amigos news stream. Old Neil Oliver was doing his show on GBUs. Now, I don't mind Neil Oliver. I mean, Scott's Armour was less than a appraisal of Neil Oliver, but I don't mind him as a bloke. But he had these guests on, and the first thing out of the mind, they were talking about the stuff that's going on in Holland, where they're trying to decimate the farmland. And people might, Joe Normie just says, "Oh, it's fucking Holland's problem." No, it's the world's problem. They are the second biggest food supplier to the fucking world. You know what I mean? It's not just a Holland problem, it's a world problem, all being manufactured once again to make sure that there isn't enough food to go around. And these green agendas, like, all designed to make sure that there isn't enough energy to go around, because what they'll do when there's not enough energy to go around, they'll say, but it'll be a lot easier for us to give everybody energy if they all sort of congregated in these fucking mega cities. Yeah. So we'll all get the proles, the plebs, whatever you want to call them, all in these fucking mega cities like off Judge Dredd. Because then, the power supply was so much easier to manage in that. And the fucking, the plebs just go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, what happens to the rest of the planet? Well, it becomes the fucking minuscule OXO cubes plaything for them to do with whatever they want. Hence why they are fascinated with digitizing absolutely every facet of existence. So, you've got meat, have digital fucking meat. You've got sunlight, have digital fucking sunlight. Oh, you've got fucking, vegetables, have digital fucking vegetables from, some thin air protein molecule thing that they're talking about now. But the reason why they do that is because if you like somebody like a woodlander or somebody who's living off the grid, shall we say, which they're also trying to demonize at every single turn, because they don't want any communities to be self-sufficient. They're saying things like, if you plant your own plants in the garden, that can give you for no reason whatsoever heart attack and stuff like that. It's just utter bullshit. It's just complete and utter bullshit, because all they want to do is to make sure that whatever would occur naturally with a little bit of management is removed completely from the table and replaced with, something with a fucking Bill Gates sticker on it, because then it can be commodified. And also, if you don't fucking have your latest injectable and you don't have all of your social credit on the app, you won't get your fucking share of Soil and Green this week.
Oh, there's cities in Germany that have, the first thing they did was, the way we would have like different buildings would be illuminated at night that have white light and different colored lights for different things. Well, the first thing they did was to stop all of that, and they're now considering turning off all of their non-essential traffic lights because they don't really have enough electricity. It is fucking nuts. Whenever you're getting to the stage where the city is having to make decisions about whether or not they're going to have traffic lights, and if they weren't necessary, I don't think we would have put them up in the first place, because we don't have enough electricity, because we have to restrict who we get our power from. It's total madness, mate.
Yeah, well, once again, everything's orchestrated. And when I was on the Ayatollah show, I sort of said, this is the way that it works, because how does the OXO cube, this tiny little bunch of fuckers, how do they manage to get the control that they're after? Because, like I say, you have to realize that the end game is control. Everything else is downstream or upstream, if you like, of control. So how do they get control? Well, the way that they get control is by making sure that they inveigle themselves into all of the government institutions around the world which has influence and pay the fuckers off. That literally is how it works. And you say, well, but that would cost an extraordinary amount of money to pay off all these fuckers who are traitors to every single... Yeah, the thing is, what people don't realize is every single nation state's paying for their own fucking demise, because they have things like, the Gulf War. Every fucker's paying into the Gulf War. Then you have the sniffle. Every fucker's paying into the sniffle. Then you have climate change. Every fucker's paying into climate change. Then you have the Ukraine. Every fucker's paying into the Ukraine. So when you see these emergency bills that go around the world, so it'll be the United States, it'll be the UK, it'll be France, it'll be Germany, and you've got all these politicians who are saying, oh, yes, we have to throw money at the current thing because it's our duty. The only reason why they're voting for that shit is because they know some of that money will trickle back into their own arse pockets. It's a feedback loop. So what they actually do is they piss tax money away. So the money that we've earned, so the sweat of our back, is pissed away on COVID, is pissed away on climate, is pissed away on the Ukraine, because the fucking evil wankers, traitorous bastards who sit in Westminster, who sit in the Senate in the United States, who sit in Parliament in Australia, who sit in Parliament in fucking New Zealand, and especially that fucking Castro Jr. in Canada, they know that whatever money they throw at that particular problem, it goes off the seawall, so they throw it at the current thing. So the seawall is the current thing. It splashes back. Most of the splashback ends up in BlackRock, Vanguard, and the other one. And the little dribbles, which is still not insignificant, you're talking of tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds, ends up in the pockets through little fucking chairmanships here, or associations with there, or non-executive positions here, into those same fuckers in power. It's a feedback loop. It's never ending. And you think to yourself, well, surely there'll be somebody who would turn around and say this COVID shit is a load of bollocks and it's going to fucking destroy people. They don't give a fuck, because COVID's really good business. If you're on part of that fucking feedback loop, you're going to be minted as long as you toe the company line. And also the line where they have allowed, where they'll say, oh, well, we can't all be seen to be drumming the same beat. So they'll drag out like a Sir Desmond Swain or this one or that one to say, oh, I don't think that this is cricket. What boy, you shouldn't be doing all this to our people. I'm Desmond Swain and I've got this particular British fucking accent, Yeah, he's a fucking payoff twat as well. He's paid to fucking play the fucking opposition, the faux opposition, because they're all in it. They're all in it. They're all fucking evil traitors. And when you listen to somebody like Academic Agent, referring back to the great Jonathan Bowden, clear them out. You've got to clear them out. You've got to clear them out as well. You fucking have. And it's as plain as the nose on fucking Carl Malden's face. We've got to clear these fuckers out. Because whilst the system exists as it does across all institutions, nothing will change. Nothing will fucking change, because it's not in their interests for it to change. And anybody who dares put their head above the parapet to say, well, I want to do this for the right reasons, immediately either get shot down or get immediately fucking discredited through some fucking Twitter post from 20 years ago or some fucking other bullshit that nobody really cares about, because that's the way that the system works.
Billy Blogs has put up an interesting comment here. He says, do enough of you unionists still work and control the grid? 42. In Northern Ireland, we had our own power station at Ballylumford, and that pretty much produced all the electricity for Northern Ireland. And whenever the unionists had a worker strike, that was always something that was pretty big. It was a really big card to play, because we could literally turn the lights off and turn everything off. But what they did, they closed our power station and made a decision to import all of our energy and also mix it with the green shite, the wind farms and solar farms and all that. So we'll no longer have that. They weren't going to... one second. Ulster Workers' Council strike. I guess it's different now. The World Economic Forum want us to have electricity and food. Yeah, we used to be able to shut down our electric and have a pretty good lever on the government and what they did, but that's gone. It was decided that Northern Ireland would import its electricity and be beholden to other people. Not right to have it in the hand, that power in the hands of working class British people, but we'll put it in the hands of probably the Germans, probably, because it comes from Europe. So whoever controls the European electric basically pretty much controls ours. Oh, something that... Do you remember Live Aid?
I do, mate.
Right.
Send us your money now.
Yeah, send us your money now. And we have all these concerts, and the aim of the concert was to raise money for Africa.
Yeah.
Problem was that the food shortages in Africa didn't really have to do with famine. It had to do with the fact that the Ethiopians were redistributing people
Yeah.
from one place to another. Well, we've got a new version of Live Aid on the go. Yeah, before going this, going to be really clear on what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about any current ongoing war. I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about any war that could be happening in Europe, or who started it, or who's winning, or who's losing. And being really clear that I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is fundraising concerts
for Freedonia. For Freedonia.
Yeah, nah. Just check that shit out. I'm going to pull this up now. Chrome tab. Yeah. I came across this the other day. Life will win. Bucharest. Oh, hold on. Maybe later that. Bucharest joins European cities hosting charity concerts for Ukraine. Bucharest has been added to the map of the European tour. Life will win tour charity event set up to raise funds for Ukraine's medical needs and to support Ukrainian artists and Ukrainians' accession to the European Union. The tour started in Warsaw on the 10th of June, but then continued with concerts in Prague, Budapest, Vienna. Have we got pictures of these concerts? No, we don't. So there's all these concerts going on in all the capital cities across Europe, and the concerts are free. But while you're there, you can donate for medical stuff for Ukraine. It seems to me quite interesting that we've had lots of pop stars and all going out, and now we've got these concerts going on. Say, not talking about the war, I'm just talking about the concerts. And do you know whenever you just find yourself down a rabbit hole? The people who run these concerts, stop a screen share. Right, go and find a different screen. Share screen. Where are we? Yes. Carverhill Studio 95. I find that in here. And these are the people that are running all these concerts. Carnival Studio 95. Carnival 95 Studio is publicly held television entertainment production company operating in Ukraine since 2003. The company was founded by now President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, and some of his school friends. What a fucking coincidence. That
it's a feedback loop, mate. Like I say, it's all a fucking feedback loop.
Yeah, they've found a way to grift the conflict, and and the other thing that they're also fundraising for an army of drones. The fundraising efforts that are going on for all of this are immense, and I'm going to see if I can find. I think I actually have a capture of this. No, I don't. I would need to actually cancel that. Where's my show notes? Yes. I say we're not talking about any war or anything. We're just talking about fundraising efforts. I want to be very clear about that. And you will also notice whenever you listen to a politician, pretty much everything they say after I want to be really clear about something. No, I'm not even going to be able to get this up. It's fucking me about. So, right. Okay. Yes. I can't get this up. I just want me to log into Facebook. I will just put up what I have here. Yep. U24 is a charitable organization set up to help Ukraine, and they are fundraising to get a load of drones for use in Ukraine, which I think is about as much as I'm allowed to say about that. But it beggars belief how efficiently this has all been grifted. There's a couple of people have sneaked in. They want to say hello to. Mouse Cat, thanks for coming in. Arpai, I seen you earlier. Hello. Yes, there you are, Arpai. Glad to have you here, brother. Just want to say hello. But the level of grift and the professionalism and the sheer coincidence that the president's company, a company founded by the president, is putting on concerts all around Europe and all sorts of stuff. It beggars belief. And it also beggars belief that other people can't see this.
Well, you're missing one word already, mate. Installed.
Yes. Oh, this is true.
President.
Yes. Yes, there is that. How he got the job is far from straightforward. I think his training for doing that job was to play the role in a sitcom, and then he actually got the job. You know, it in a quite similar way to AOC. Applied for an acting job, and the acting job turned out to be acting as a congresswoman. She got installed. You know, it's, you know, at what stage does this start to get noticed? And the wider people, I've even seen, granted very few, but I've seen a couple of Ukrainian flags up over here, and I'm surprised that people are falling for that.
But I think the bigger question is that the people at the top of the power chain. So you've got Zelensky, feedback loop. You've got the Bidens, feedback loops. You've got many of the treacherous bastards in our government, feedback loops. The bigger question is, why don't they care anymore? It's to me, it's literally like they don't care that ordinary people can just do that little bit of paper trailing on the internet, which is, like I say, free for everybody to see. Me and Tam, I said this on Ayatollah's show. Me and Tam did a stream 2 or 3 months ago called the Four Horsemen of the Great Reset, and we were purposely fucking careful to be quoting references that were out there in the public domain, and they still shut down that stream. Now, I'm just some fucking tiny minnow on YouTube that shouldn't be of any interest to anyone or anything. And yet Susan, and it wasn't the fucking algorithm, it was some toady, said that stream was misinformation. And I replied and said, okay, well, I'm happy to, agree with that. If you let me know, can you please let me know what bit was misinformation, and I'll take it out and I'll re-upload it. And they just said, oh, it just is, and fucking took it off. Literally took it out. Now I don't, because I'm using CheaperNet StreamYard, I don't get a copy of that. So it's gone for fucking ever now. Bastards. You know what I mean?
Do you not download your streams?
Well, well, to be fair to you, mate, if I'd have fucking thought that there was anything untowards to download, I would have done that. However, you know, there was absolutely nothing in that stream that could have, that wasn't already in the public domain. It was the fact that we were talking about 4 individuals in the same breath for whatever reason, and also linking how each of those fuckers and their various organizations were essentially, and it's not just them, there will be others, but they are the most prominent in our focus and in our minds now. Every single one of them have got the fingers in all of the same pies, and they're also sort of cross-pollinating one another. So you see Bill and Melinda Gates funding foundation being payrolled by the WF, and then there's a WF thing that's happening, which is being funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates thing. And then, you know, these two things have been, like, George Soros and Bill Gates are both funding this artificial meat production in the UK, or artificial protein production thing in the UK. And then you've got Larry Fink, who's across all of it, coming out with his ESG, which is the, you know, environmental and sustainable goals. Equity, sustainability goals thing. Yeah, which we, you know, you hear the trope all the time: go woke, go broke. But it's the complete and utter reverse, because you see somebody like a Gillette, and they come out with that stupid fucking advert where it says, you know, the best a man can get. It's like, oh no, it's the best that any person can get. And the sales, literally, they cost them 200 million in sales. Chicken feed.
Oh no, the Gillette company was reassessed financially after that. 5 billion they lost, mate.
Well, I'm talking about sales. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can't. The thing is, right? You can't take in previous carnations, like when normalcy was ruling the roost, a 5 billion drop in value would be catastrophic, and you'd have literally every single person in that company running around like headless chickens. Unfortunately, because a Gillette are owned by, I think it's Procter & Gamble, or one of the big ones, or GlaxoSmithKline, one of the big companies, who are then owned in turn by Vanguard or BlackRock or both or whatever. The 5 billion, it's not you know, that's a net amount if you wanted to buy the company now, but they're all fucking holdings of Vanguard or BlackRock. And whoever was to take over Gillette would be a holding of Vanguard or BlackRock. So it doesn't really matter. The key thing from that, you know, the value of the business has dropped 5 billion. Doesn't matter, because it's pulling in their fucking direction, their fucking agenda. You've got to realize that minuscule little fucking OXO cube don't give a shit about money, because, you know, 5 billion taken off Gillette, they get there in a month off all the fucking money that's being thrown at the fucking Ukraine, which ends up back in their coffers. Do you not see that? That's how this fucking thing works. It's the best Ponzi scheme in the fucking world, because the ordinary people pay for it through the taxes, and then the bastards who are doing all this laws and all of the civil servants and all of the top rankers keep on pushing for it, even though nobody wants it. Nobody in this country in the right minds want, you know, apart from those fucking odd wastrels who we saw sticking their hands on, you know, the Last Supper, you know, and they're just deluded fuckers, because they just really haven't woken up yet, yeah? 99% of ordinary people don't want the fucking green agenda. And yet, governments just keep on pushing on and pushing on and pushing on, you know? Well, so hold on a minute. I thought you were to do the... No. That's just an illusion. We don't do what the people say. We do what we fucking want, and you just eat the fucking bugs, bigot. Everything is a feedback loop. It's basically, we're going to keep on annexing your property. So your labor is, I know it sounds daft, but your labor is actually property. So whatever amount of work that you do or effort that you put into something, that is your property. And what you do is you pay your taxes in return for certain standard or social services. So in other words, your bins get taken away. You can, if in this day and age, if you're lucky, can go and see a doctor. Your property's defended by the police, although it fucking isn't. But dare do a nasty tweet about a protected group, and they'll be through your door like fucking Billy-O. Do you know what I mean?
The police are now only here to give you a crime number so you can contact your insurance company.
I've had that. I have had that myself. When I was working down in, I'll tell you now, right, this is the God's honest truth. I was working down in Luton, and I used to stay in a gaff, and used to park my car literally opposite the place where I was staying. I literally used to park my car opposite the place where I was staying. TV cameras and everything, yeah? And there was a couple of strugs, but see, this is the problem. I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And there was a couple of strugs, but I parked my car up, right? And it was a black lad and a white lad who you could tell they were either homeless or some shit like that. And they said, "Oh yeah, man, you got any smokes? Got anything?" And I'll be honest with you, mate. I like to roll my own. If I have a fag, it's to roll my own. And when I was working away, because there's fuck all else to do, I used to roll my own. I used to like my own rollies. So I had my bag of, what you call shag, a bag of shag there. And these lads here, I said, "Look, are you going to," I said, "I'll tell you what, because these big 50-gram packs that you have, you get 2 packets of papers. Well, I rarely use one. So I said to the lads, no, I haven't got any papers. Wait, here's a packet of papers. Have you got anything to put this in? No. So I went back in my car, got out a fucking Ziploc little mini fucking bag, put half my baccy in the bag, zipped it up, because there you go, lads, have a smoke on me. If you got any weed, no, I don't do that fucking shit, mate. I've never had a fucking illegal drug in my life. I like booze, I like tabs. That's pretty much where it ends for me. But you're more than welcome to that, lads. And he goes, "Have you got a couple of quid?" So I give them a fucking tenner. I give them a tenner. So they'd had half me baccy, a packet of papers, a strog, Billy Bloggs, is a fucking ne'er-do-well. In other words, a bloody street hanger, a lurker. But like I say, I take people as you find them. I've always had, this was drummed into me as a lad, as a boy from my dad, where my dad would say, "Don't ever think you're above anybody else just because, their situation, because you could end up there one day." And I take that to heart. So give these buggers the benefit of the doubt and give them half me back, a packet of papers, tenner, like I say, because when I was working back then, because I was, working away in that, you were a little bit more flush. So I thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll give them a tenner. Don't, in the scheme of things, if they get a warm, because it was fucking freezing as well. It was the middle of winter. And he goes, "Can you help us out with, money? Because there's a fucking hostel wherever." And I said, "Yeah, and it literally was the only note I had in my pocket. If I had a 20 quid note, I'd have probably fucking given them, because I'm that fucking soft. So I give them that, right? Next morning, I get down to my car, fucking window bust in, and I went back into this. "Do you not fucking see that?" I said, I said, "You don't realise it," because obviously they were all fucking babushkas, like the dushka fucking Eastern fucking blockers. My fucking car. I stay here all the time. Why don't you fucking tell me? Oh, not get involved. So anyway, I ring up the gaff where I was working. So I'll try and ring fucking Autoglass that proved to be as useless as fucking every other fucking thing in this country. Fucking useless. So I ring them up and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll get somebody." Never fucking turned up. They turned up the following day. I ring the gaffer. I said, "Look, my car's been done into. I'm going to ring Plod now." So I ring up the police, and this was like 8:30 in the morning. So it wasn't like it was like fucking Sparrow's fart. I got a fucking answering machine. "Oh, hello to, what was it? Was it Bedford Police, or was it fucking Thames Valley? I can't remember. Or Bedford Police, or whatever it was. Bedfordshire Police. Your call is important to us. There's nobody here to take your call right now, but if you leave your name and number, we'll get somebody right back to you straight away." Now, what are you going to do? Leave a message and saying, "Yeah, I'm being stabbed in the neck repeatedly. Could you please get back to me as soon as you fucking can, please?" But anyway, I left me a message. So, "Look, my car's been done in. I know you'll do fuck all about it, but I'm reporting it anyway. Oh, by the way, there is CCTV cameras. It's been filmed. Fuckers have watched it happen. They didn't fucking do anything about it because they're useless fucking coward bastards. But anyway, you know, this is the way it is. And I saw the footage myself. I saw the footage. It was the same two fuckers who I'd give all that gear to earlier on. Bastards. Talk about fucking biting the hand. So I didn't, the police never, you know, so ring them up. So we've got CCTV footage. So I get a phone call eventually while I'm waiting for me mate, one of the lads who who I was working with at the time down there. I said, look, mate, I'll need to fucking get back to wherever. Can you? Because it was only a bust window, but I didn't have any gear with me to clear the glass out or anything. I said, so can you bring like a fucking dustpan and brush or something to get the glass off the seat so at least I can get into work? Because where I was working at the time, fortunately, had its own enclosed car park and proper one. It was an indoor one. So even if the elements had turned bad, as long as I parked the side where the window was smashed in as close as I could get to a wall, it was going to be all right. Do you know what I mean? So I do all that lot. So I've sorted all out about 10:30 in the morning, you know, fucking rapid response unit, get a phone call off a woman. Oh, hello, is that Mr. XYZ? Yes, it is, yes. Oh, sorry to hear you had your car broken into. I said, well, I did wait for you to get back. I said, but obviously, you know, I actually work for a fucking living, so I've had to go to work, right? All right, yes, okay then. I said, but there is CCTV footage. This is the name of the digs I'm staying at. They've got all of the information. I've left it with them. I've looked on the CCTV, and I said it was two blokes who blah-de-blah, you know. I said I met them when I was parking the car up. And she goes, did you interact with them? I said, yes, I did. I said, I gave them some cigarettes and some money. Oh, well, you shouldn't have done that. I said, well, I fucking know that now, don't I? You know, but I was kindness to me fucking heart. But, right then, well, I said, so you're going to do you need me to see the police? Oh, no. But what I can do is give you an incident number, right? Which I was expecting. And I said, you know, I said, she goes, what did they steal? I said, well, funnily enough, I had fuck all in my car anyway. I said, they've like bust the window, rummaging around looking for drugs that didn't fucking exist. I said, but my sunglasses are still there, which were a decent set of sunglasses. I said, all this stuff's still there. You know, whether or not in the mind's eye they thought, oh, we'll do him a good turn, you know, won't nick his fucking sunglasses because he hasn't got any fucking drugs. I said, no, all right, we'll give you the instant number and that there. So I've already rang fucking Autoglass, so, you know, there's nothing more you can do. But if you get the chance of anybody turning out, see if they can have a watch of that old CCTV footage, because after it happened to me, I was immediately told by the people working behind the fucking desk, these Eastern Blocker wankers, that, oh yeah, it happens often. Well, you fucking didn't tell me though, did you, you cunt? You know, I've been here fucking 2 months. You didn't fucking tell me that was a notorious place with cars getting done over, and you're watching it fucking happen. You know what I mean? So I did all of that and did that there. And then you know what she did? You know what she did? This fucking woman on the phone here, like I say, you know, ring up at 8:30 to police station, Bedfordshire Police. 8:30, ring up, fucking answering phone machine. Hello, can I help? You know, press 1 if you're being stabbed to death by a mad fucking axeman. Press 2 if you're fucking being raped to death. Press 3 if you've got a fucking carotid artery injury. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's unbelievable. And she follows this up with, and would you like to be put in touch with an emergency counselling service?
What?
Right? Now get this, right? How much is this emergency counselling service going to be costing? It's going to be costing fucking thousands. You know, instead of pissing thousands away on emergency fucking counselling, how's about you just spend that money on getting fucking police where they need to fucking be at the times when they need to fucking be there? It was absolutely fucking outrageous, mate. I've never been so thoroughly disgusted in all my fucking born days. Absolutely fucking horrendous. I hate them all.
I had a bicycle stolen out of the shed down below my flat. Now, hold on, I need to cough. it turns out eventually it done me a favour because I had a bike. I liked my bike, but it was about 10, 12-year-old, and it went missing from inside the shed, and I had a bit of a hissy. Was totally pissed off, and then that happened on a Saturday night. On the Monday, it was on night shift at the time, so Monday day I was free. Went to the first police station and went up and arrived at the police stations in Northern Ireland. They're not the easiest thing to get access to, but there's a big brick silo outside this, and if you rock up there, they can pull back a metal latch and you can speak to a person. I says, hello, like to report a stolen bicycle. I'm like, yeah, no, we don't do that anymore. I says, well, where can I do that? And give me the name of another police station. So I went off to the second police station. Went down, let me in, and I'm giving them the details of my bike, which was mountain bike, was a GT Aggressor, but I had changed out the forks on it. I changed out the pedals. I had quite a few bits and bobs that I'd improved over the years as the original ones were out. And I was trying to give the guy the description of the bike because on the rare off chance that it did turn up, I wanted to be able to say, yes, you can see this is my bike because it's got this, and this unique feature. But he had no interest whatsoever in taking down all the details. All he wanted to do was give me an incident number so I could go to my insurance. Although, having said that, my flat was insured, but the stuff in the shed isn't covered under it. The new bike that I got lives in my kitchen now. So I was pissed off for about 2 days, and then I went to the bike shop to have a look at bikes and see Mum. I hadn't rode this bike in about fucking 3 years because I just hadn't, and I got one with a dropper seat post, so I have a lever on my handlebars, lets me drop the seat down and raise it back up again, which is quite important for mountain biking because whenever you're going down something steep, you need your seat well out of the way. But if you're pedaling, you want to be able to stand on it, you want to be able to sit on it, and it's got an air fork. Like, it's what I pay, £1,100 I paid for that, but it's far more advanced than the bike that I had that was a similar price whenever I got it, really. But bikes have just moved on, and I actually use this bike now, whereas the other one I hadn't been using it. But just the way the police treated me about it. Hold on, what's Billy Blogs at now? Show me a photo of the armoured police barracks. They look like prisons or military bases. People from the rest of the UK. They're not as bad as they used to be. They're just a lot of concrete outside the front of them. They used to have the big, all the big posts, like big slabs of concrete and planting pots that they put outside the police stations are all gone now. As we head towards normality, but like the police just don't have any interest whatsoever in even fully taking down the details of. They was like, nah, we just outsource this to the insurance company. That in itself, that's another fucking feedback loop because somebody steals your bike, the police don't do anything about giving you the ability to prove that it's yours. Should have come up, and you go to your insurance company. Your insurance company gives you the money. You go buy a new bicycle, so the money's back the bicycle. It's just the bicycle company, and everything all just keeps ticking around. Everything all just seems to be about moving money. And the other thing,
in the meantime, the police cop for a great bike at the local auction because they'll hold that every 6 months as well.
Yeah. This is true because if nobody turns up and claims the property, then they get the auction it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let's face it, most of the gear never actually sees the auction. They put a perfunctory amount in the kitty. So what was your bike? 1,100 quid. There'll be some plod, 50 quid. I'll take that off your hands. Oh, that's more than a fair price. That's what happens, mate. It's fucking endemic. The corruption is endemic.
Yeah. Yes, PSNI cop shops are heavily reinforced buildings.
I tell you a building in Belfast that's fucking oppressive. That post office building up down by the Lagan, you know, the fucking, you know, the main sort of harbour area of the town. Fuck me, that post office, it's the most oppressive building I've ever seen. You know which one I mean?
I think I do.
You know where the Lagan, the fucking, you know, the main throw is. So if you imagine where they've got the Titanic Museum, if you were to walk sort of back in towards town, and there's this, you know, the big overhang where the main motorway goes over that section of the city, yeah? You just go past there.
Yes, I know.
What's the name? It's the Ramada. There's a Ramada hotel on the corner.
There's a Ramada.
And then you've got the post office. It's massive. It's fucking huge building. It's the most oppressive building I've ever fucking seen.
The parcel depot. That's where you go to if you you know, you get that letter through your door and we couldn't deliver this parcel, and you go to that. You go to that. Yes, it is. I know exactly what you're talking about. What?
It is fucking Borstal, that place, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what else. See if you go past that about 8 o'clock in the evening, there's a feeding station there for the homeless people.
Yeah, underneath the bypass, where you get them, and you also get the fucking boy racers doing donuts all over the not end.
Yeah. I'll tell you an interesting one about homeless people in Belfast. I'm going to say 2014 was not long after I got housed. I'm walking through Belfast city centre, and there's a homeless guy sitting with his back to the wall, blah, blah, blah. And I've been campaigning for, I had this thing like, you know, the cure for homelessness is houses, and very interested in that, and I've been complaining to the city council and the parliament about it and all, and I'd just been housed. So I seen that guy sitting there, and there's a shop about 10 yards up in the shop, gets 2 coffees, comes out, sets him down the coffee, and says, here you go, lad. And do you mind to have a talk? So I'm talking to him for about 5 minutes. And his big complaint was if he put anything out in front of him to collect money in, you know, like a cup or a hat or whatever, the police would come and move him on. But they don't do that with the foreigners. And I says, yeah, well, sure. Where are they going to move him to? Just tell them this is where you live. And he goes, oh no, they've got my address. And this my ear sort of pricked up, and I was like, they've got your addresses. I've got a wee flat over in blah blah. I'm just here to get a couple of quid. I went, right, okay. So off I go. Right. So that was like a Wednesday. On the Friday, I had it's something to do in the town. So I parked then round the back of City Hall. You obviously know a bit of geography in Belfast. Those streets up the back of City Hall have on-street parking, £2 or whatever into the meter. Off I goes to do my thing. On my way there, I clocked the guy sitting in the doorway. Sort of like a damp, dank old day. And on the way back, same thing, 2 cups of coffee, and talking to him for about 5 minutes. And I says, here, mate, what do you like with points for the housing executive? Because I know that system, and I've managed to get a couple of people housed. I was like, do you need any help with getting points? He says, oh no, I've got somewhere. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And I spoke to somebody else that weekend. Spoke to another guy that weekend. And he had somewhere to stay. Hey, what the fuck's going on? I was on night shift. And our night shift finishes at, the week finishes at 2:30 Thursday night, Friday morning. So here's me, I know what I do. finished work on my bicycle and went for a cycle through the city centre. And what I found was crowds of people, 8, 9, 10 people together with carryouts going from one place to another, having pretty much a mobile party. As I was expecting to find genuine homeless people, I was thinking, yeah, at this time of morning, there's nobody going to be here unless they actually need to be here. But no, what I found was a mobile party. And for approximately a year, I don't know how many people I spoke to, more than 50, less than 200. And every one of those people had an address. Now, I know it's different on the mainland, that you have a large amount of genuinely homeless people that just don't have somewhere to go. But I'm figuring that if there's a culture in Belfast where people just decide to drop out and, live on the street, regardless of whether or not they've got somewhere else that they should be, that there's got to be some of that in the rest of the country as well. And in Belfast, I know for a fact that for outside of the people that you get walking past, if you're sitting on the street, giving you tea, coffee, sandwiches, money, there are churches that open up a church hall close to the city centre that run a honesty cafe where they sell sandwiches, sausage rolls, tea, coffee, whatever. And everyday punters walk in, they get themselves something to eat, and at the end of the counter, there's a jar, and you put in whatever you think you should be paying, and those fake homeless people come in, eat whatever they want, and just walk out again. And the money from the general punters pays for that. You can eat. Homeless people eat 3 times a day in Belfast, as and when they want. But it just seems mad. It just seems mad.
If they were genuine, then if I walked into a gaff and had a bacon butty and a cuppa and paid £3, and that covered, say for instance, in real money, that was like £1 in actual consumables, I wouldn't mind the fact that 2 people got a meal out of my £3. What I resent the fact is that if the lead swingers, if they are just fucking taking the land, or what we would call in Stoke, what we call sappers, not sappers, but SAFFERS, sappers. In other words, people who take shit without actually, without any what's the word I'm looking for? Without actually putting anything in to get them. Do you know what I mean? They just saff off the system.
Yep, we would call that a sponge.
Yeah, saffron and a sponge is the same thing, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we would call them spongers. And there were most people, and it's probably because in Northern Ireland, you don't build one house in the state, you build 2. Because you built one for the Unionists and you built one for the Nationalists, and they're sort of beside each other. And so because we've had, and you build 2 libraries, you build 2 schools, you build 2 leisure centres, whatever, everything. There's 2 because there's one for the Unionists, there's one for the Nationalists. And I think because of that, we have access housing in the system, which is why we don't really have genuine homeless. Where we do have homeless people is in the period between separation and divorce, where you have a guy that has left the house for whatever reason, that's still paying a mortgage or still paying rent or still paying a mortgage for that house and still paying all the bills and the debt repayments connected to that old house until such time as the house is sold. Those people, there's a lot of those people that are either sofa surfing or living in their car. But really, see if you've got a job. How much do you reckon it is to stay in a homeless shelter?
Well, the shitbag one what was it called now? It was called the Electric Something in Luton was 14 quid a night.
Right. No, it's 14 quid a night if you don't have a job.
Yes. All right. Well, how much is it if you have got a job?
£600 a month.
Fucking teeth. That is a mortgage.
Right. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. See, in England, where your housing steer, that's going to be more. These are the figures for Belfast, Northern Ireland. Now, really hear this for Griff. If you're running a homeless shelter or a shelter for victims of domestic abuse, and what happens is you go along, you put in a grant, you put in for grants, and you get the what's bullshit Billy Blogs, right? You put up the building and you put two people working there, 12-hour shifts, so there's always somebody there. Whenever the people that are entitled to housing benefit walk in through the door, you take control of their housing benefit, and because you're providing shelter and mentorship, this is the important bit, mentorship, which basically means having a person on the premises. That's it. You can claim housing benefit off the government to the tune of £600 per month, which means that if somebody that through no fault of their own has become displaced and they're having a bit of financial bother and they can't get themselves on their next peg, whenever they rock up and say, "Can I come and live here?" they say, "Yes, certainly you can, but that will be £600 a month, please."
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, right? People would assume that I'm 100 dead against. Is he listening? 600 a month is the fucking amount of money you have to pay to exist somewhere if you are working.
Yeah. No, but like all those see whenever you look at a homeless shelter in the UK, I'm not sure where you live, or a domestic abuse shelter. The people that are living there for free, because the people that are running it get the person's housing benefit and they claim that amount of money off the government. But if you're working, you're not entitled to a housing benefit. So therefore you have to pay what they can claim off the government, which is £600 a month. And if the reason why you're looking at a homeless shelter is because you can't afford normal rent, the homeless charity charges the homeless to live in the shelter only if they have a job. If they have a job and are earning money, they aren't entitled to the benefits, so therefore they get charged. But if you're homeless and don't have a job, you fill in a form and the government picks up your £600 a month tab, and that is the grift that is being ran out of the homeless shelters. It's fucking nuts.
Once again, it's another elaborated Ponzi scheme, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just fucking. People say to me, "Oh, the likes of the fucking hand-rigging, pearl-clutching imbeciles who claim they're on the left. They're not on the left. They're on evil. They're on the side of evil." I honestly believe in a welfare system that takes care of people who, like you said, 42, quite correctly, who fall on hard times through no fault of their own. So those poor buggers, those 800 people of P&O who are basically shat on, I've got no problem with the wider community giving those people enough money to exist, well, not exist even, but to, enough money to live on until such a time as they get a job because they are actually working. What I resent is these wastrels, second, third, and fourth generation scumbags who use the fucking welfare system as a way of life. That's what I resent.
Yeah. The other thing is the union whenever the P&O guys got done, union were out and shouting about this, that, and the other. Do you know what they didn't do? Take P&O to court, because what P&O did in this country is fucking illegal. They should have been in their court case for every one of those for wrongful dismissal.
Yes, and guess who pointed out that it was illegal? Why? It would be those same fucking, trade unions that our good friend B-Roll Pooch wanted us to talk about, not last week, but the week before, or what had been going on with the trade unions in here. And what did it fuck all? What did they do? What was the outcome of that absolutely fucking horrendous act that P&O Ferries did on honest to goodness people in this country? It's basically, yeah, fuck off, we've got cheaper alternatives and you're sacked today. That's what they said. The unions even came out and said, that's fucking illegal, you can't do that. Yeah? And what was the outshot of that? What was the outshot of that? Did P&O pay back the 130 million that they'd taken off the government in furlough money alone? Not to mention all of the stuff that they were getting in business kickbacks to allegedly keep them afloat, even though they were part of the DP group, which is multi-billionaires, fucking Middle Eastern oil-rich billionaires. No, they didn't do a fucking thing. They just said, oh, sorry about that. And I don't even know if those 800 people actually got their jobs back, because it seemed to be swept under the carpet. And once again, I lay the blame at those fuckwits in the unions who say, oh, yeah, you can't do that, it's illegal. Well, what are you going to do about it? Nothing, because the government fucking pays us and we're not going to do fucking anything about it. This is why I despise fucking trade unions. I despise them with a fucking passion. The trade unions have not represented our people since even if then, because they were being inveigled in the 1960s, but certainly since the late 70s, mid to late 70s, every single trade union, right, has been effectively either running interference for government plans or fucking gatekeepers for them. I fucking hate them with a passion. Absolute fucking wank stains. I hate them all.
The big switch with unions came after the miners' strike. I think that the unions are under the impression that during the miners' strike, the workers should have rose up and overthrew the British government. I don't know how they actually think that would ever worked, but they seem to be of the impression that they're good communists that aren't actually communists. They're just normal workers. Didn't rise up and overthrew the government, so they've went, yeah, fuck them.
Well, they would have done. I think genuinely, I think they would have done if it had been fucking legitimate. But it was one man's fucking campaign. It was that ginger bastard fucking Arthur Scargill. He took it upon himself because obviously the Yorkshire area was a massive mining area, probably, I would say, the largest in the country. And because he was the head of that ginger fucking get. My dad was a miner for 37 and a half years, and he was on the NUM board at the pit that he was in. And he spoke to Arthur Scargill in person. And he said, because he knew there was no fucking appetite for that strike, he said, I'll tell you what, Arthur, and this is the God's honest truth, I'll tell you now, if you're that convinced that we should strike, put it to the ballot, and if you win, I'll be out there with you, mate. I'll be banging the fucking drum alongside you. And he never put it to a ballot. It was an illegal fucking strike. And everybody goes, oh, Thatcher did this, Thatcher did that. No, Thatcher didn't do any two things. Thatcher was the only fucking prime minister that had any balls about. What were you? Any leader of a nation, if you're going to be held over a barrel every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, which is what was been happening with the miners, yeah, and in the early 70s, they had a just cause. My dad was out there striking with the best of them because they had reasonable cause, and it was thing. What transpired after that was an Arthur Scargill fucking appreciation society, yeah? Arthur Scargill, the only person to ever benefit from the NUM was fucking Arthur Scargill personally himself. Arthur Scargill benefited from the NUM. The miners and the workforce didn't. What he did, and you've still got people to this day saying, oh, Arthur Scargill, because like I say, Yorkshire was always going to be that way because he was from Yorkshire. So as far as Yorkshire was concerned, he walked on fucking water. But there was no appetite for that strike in the Midlands and quite a lot of Wales as well, which is with the big mining areas. The Scotland was a different one because they had a fella called Mick McGackie, who was a fucking sellout twat as well. Mick fucking McGackie, twat, who my dad also fucking knew, right? He was a fucking sellout bastard as well. So essentially what you actually had was Yorkshire and Scotland, a little bit of Wales, but the vast majority of the Midlands, you've got to think on. Staffordshire, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, all fucking big. And I'm talking about, you know, record-breaking producing pits, tonnage-wise, in that area, had no fucking appetite for it because they said you can't keep holding the government over the barrel because what's going to happen is they'll just shut the pits and fucking turn to oil or turn to some alternative. Yeah? And the saddest thing about that entire episode is when they lost, and that was effectively the death knell, when Scargill lost, because it wasn't balloted, it was Scargill's own fault. He fucking lost. He was the twat. He was the death knell to the pits. They had the technology even back then to make those coal-burning power stations as clean as oil and gas-burning ones. And the pit where my dad was working at the time, by geologists, the geologists who used to survey the lands and everything back then, they said at the current tonnage production in the pit where my dad was working, there was about 100 years worth of coal still under that fucking ground. And what did we do? Or what do we do as a nation, sorry? And this is Thatcher's fault because they couldn't wait to do it. They bulldozed over instead of capping it and putting the buildings into decommission. So if ever we needed fucking energy, like what we fucking do now, we could have just reopened them. They bulldozed the whole fucking lot off and put a fucking business park on top of it. So if you ever want that coal out again, you're going to have to fucking, you know, either demolish the business park or you're going to have to fucking find some other way or some other route to get to it. But there's about 100 years worth of coal under that fucking single pit alone. What they fucking did to this country, I'll never... And that was all trade unions. Well, one person, that fucking ginger get Arthur Scargill. I started the stream tonight on the Amigos News fucking pointing him out. Absolute fucking wanker. I will never ever trust a trade union. And anybody who does is a fucking deluded wastrel because all they do are the government's bidding now. Arthur Scargill, like I say, he took it upon himself and he met his match in Maggie Thatcher because Ted Heath was a fucking coward. Callaghan was a fucking coward. Maggie Thatcher, irrespective of what you think of her politics, she's the last fucking strong leader this country's ever had.
I totally agree, but I'm amazed by that because this is a story that we didn't get told. Definitely didn't get told that there weren't ballots. That is fucking nuts. I'm going to guess that that's why there was laws brought in about having the way ballots were run for strikes and stuff. But that is fucking ridiculous. And the other thing about trade unions, they are now all campaigning for open borders and gay rights and all sorts of stuff. Everything apart from workplace issues. The union I'm in, they had an election for the person that's at the very, very top, and the one I voted for was the one that was the least woke, but they all had something about women's rights, LGBT rights, migrant rights, and fuck all about very little about the shop floor. It's unions are gone. They're not what we would general working people are looking for, and you don't seem to be able to get anybody with what we would class as sensible ideas can't get moved up the system to try and change it from within. Even it's fucking nuts. The other thing is the way they close those pits, that it's uneconomic to even think about opening them again. Had it not been for the way that strike went, I think the pits would have been closed in a much more sensible way, had it not been all that antagonism and the prolonged strike, and basically where the Scargill went to war with the country.
Well, the other lie as well was the fact that when Scraggy Matcher was on her way out, basically through treachery, once again, as we've seen this week in the Tory party, they're endemic. Treachery in the Tory party is endemic. You don't find many, fucking loyalty in the Tory party. In fact, you probably don't find much loyalty in any party. But treachery is particularly endemic in the Tory party. And when the rumblings were going on, because Tarzan, what's he called? Ovaltine, Michael Ovaltine, Heseltine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the fucking kingmaker in that fucking escapade. He was Maggie Thatcher's demise. Yeah, it was him. And they agreed to put fucking bland John Major in power. But one of the things that was discussed was about the pits, because this was 91, remember, when Thatcher got booted, yeah? And allegedly, whether you want to believe it or not, they spoke with the two main powers at the time within the coal mining industry, which was obviously, because they'd already started to shut them down, because they'd already started to refit them for gas and oil, which cost a fucking horrendous amount of money, far more than what it would have done to make coal burners cleaner than what they were. And, they were sort of saying, oh, well, if you side with us, these Tory bastards who hated the unions were always a Labour thing. Oh, well, if you side with us, we'll look towards doing this. And when Scargill took it upon himself and all of the fucking nonsense was going on in 84 into the beginning of 85, there was a Nottinghamshire bloke called Neil Gretrix who started the Union of Democratic Mine Workers, which he was based in Nottinghamshire. He passed away only a couple of years ago, Neil Gretrix. And his mantra was, let's work with the government, let's see what we can do here, let's see what we can do there. And he actually went over to, because at that time, the United States were, just coming into the George Bush Senior era, was still massively dependent on coal. They literally were using coal everywhere. So they didn't have their own tonnage, coming out of the likes of Pennsylvania and that to man a lot of their power stations. So it would have been a good in for us, even if the domestic market was going to be run on gas and oil, which is ridiculous, isn't it? Because we were dependent on a lot more external. But once again, this codependency on other nations for everything is all orchestrated so that we can't be self-sufficient. You see what I mean? This is where it all comes from. But however, in order to try and keep the pits open, Neil Gretrix went over to the United States talking with big bosses in Pennsylvania and shit like that. They even did a documentary on it, I'm sure, in the early 90s, where he was out there campaigning for the Yanks to invest in British coal mines so they could sort of fill up their shortfall back then. And it all fell through, but it was purposely pushed. It was all purposely pushed through or made to fall through, because in 92, like I say, Major got put in power, and there were these rumblings under the scenes of, oh, you union boys, if you do this, if you do that. But you can't trust any of these politicians. They're all fucking liars. Yeah. Then we'll sort you out. Don't worry about that. So Major gets in 91 after Thatcher's deposed, and in 92 the pits all fucking shut, or there or thereabouts. Pits were all shut. So once again, stab you in the fucking back. That's what the Tories do. So all this bullshit about fucking mass migration under the Blair era, 2010 when vague Dave Cameron gets in, we'll be doing nothing. And just before Boris gets elected, you've got pretty fucking useless Patel throwing a bit of red meat, and we're going to clamp down on immigration. Yeah, last year during the middle of a pandemic, allegedly, million extra people thereabouts fucking rock up. Unbelievable. Yeah. Never trusted. If anything, as much as I would never vote for the fucker, yeah, and as much as I mistrust the fucker, I had far more respect for fucking Jeremy Corbyn because at least he knew where he stood, as opposed to the Tories, which is basically what Blair did. Say one thing and then do the complete fucking opposite.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Corbyn is he's never met a terrorist that doesn't like Britain or he doesn't like. You know, every terrorist group that doesn't like Britain, he's right in there with them. That was a bit that sort of got me. Bringing IRA members over to the House of Commons and shit. No, that's apart from the rest of his policies, but it's just him and Diane Abbott, who refused to take back what you said about the IRA doing a good job, is a bit that really sort of sticks in my craw, William. But you are right. I mean, they do actually mean what they say. And the other thing we need to do is start understanding, see all these left-wingers, all these people on the left who are very, very careful with all their words. We need to actually take everything that they're saying literally because they do mean it. And don't let them away with the kindest possible interpretation of their bullshit. Hello, Jerry. Yes, late. It is very late. Right, Sensum, I'm thinking about wrapping this up pretty shortly because it's like 2:20 in the morning. We've been going for...
Oh, that's great, mate. You know, I'm all on board with that. Yeah, I appreciate it. But I've enjoyed the chat. I've got a load of shit off my chest that I've been dying to get off my chest, if I'll be honest, for a long, long time. It's just never cropped up before. Like I say, the nearest it come to it was not today's, but last Saturday's Amigos news stream where Beer Old Pooch was saying, talk about the unions, fuck the unions. I fucking hate them. They're second only in my contempt to the government. So that'll tell you what I think of unions.
Yeah, well, because I sort of gotten for the record, I'm a union health and safety rep, which is what it is. For whatever reason, the fellas that I work with thought, yeah, we'll send him in because he seems to be able to talk. So I've got that, but the actual function, whenever I started looking at it, the function of a union is to facilitate, because that's this time of the morning, facilitate agreement between the management and the shop floor, whereas the actual function of a union should be to zealously advocate for the rights of the members. And I think that's where a lot of the problem is. You know, it is a bit in cahoots. I've really enjoyed the conversation with you as well, and always a pleasure talking to you. And I'm glad that you were able to get an opportunity to get all the wee buggy bits that you've been thinking about but haven't said out there. So it
was a good spleen vent. I enjoyed that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much. Right. Anything else you want to say? Go for it. I'm going to find us a bit of music to play out to.
All I would say is thank you everybody who came over from the earlier chat and everybody who's joined us subsequently and enjoyed the Sterling show that 42 always puts on. Always great stuff, and I look forward to the next one, mate. I really do.
Brilliant, mate, and always a pleasure having you on. I've got a song. It's one of the ones you like. It's about to come up. And hold on, we need to pause this. It always does as it runs off and starts playing. Share screen. Chrome tab. Okay, frogs. Sure. Here we go.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Boom, boom, shoot
this crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs, man. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like a frog. Gay. Friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Frogs. Place point.
Hey everybody, good night. God bless. Sensum, thanks for coming on. I'll chat to you in a wee second. I'm hitting the end broadcast now.